Beloved, pause for a moment. Yes, you, right now. Stop whatever is in your hands. Don't scroll. Don't multitask. Don't let your thoughts wander off. Give this your full attention and quiet the noise inside your mind. What you're hearing is not advice. It's not motivation. It's not even inspiration. This is an alarm. And alarms are never soft or polite, because what they are guarding is far too valuable to whisper about. You don't just stumble upon an alarm by accident. When it sounds, it's because something needs your immediate attention. Heaven doesn't trigger alarms randomly. So if this reached you, if something inside you suddenly became alert, if you felt even the slightest tightening in your chest, that's not just emotion. That's recognition. Something beyond what you can see just sounded the signal. Understand this clearly. There is a difference between background noise and an alarm. Noise entertains you. Noise distracts you. Noise simply fills empty space. But an alarm, it interrupts everything. Cuts through comfort, disrupts routine, and demands that you wake up. And that's exactly why this message is here. Not to entertain you, but to awaken you. Because without realizing it, little by little, almost invisibly, you've been drifting. Not into failure, not into rebellion, not into destruction, but into something far more subtle, dullness. And dullness is dangerous precisely because it feels normal. You've been responsible. You've been productive. You've been doing what you had to do just to get through. But somewhere along the way, in the middle of routines and responsibilities, something sacred began to lose its edge. Prayer became shorter. Conviction softened. Discernment became something you could negotiate with. Not on purpose, but gradually. And that's what makes it risky. Gradual drift doesn't announce itself. It happens quietly. Think about it. Ships don't crash because they move too fast. They crash because they drift off course without noticing. This is not a message of accusation. It's a message of awareness. That weight you've been calling just tiredness. Look again. It might not be only physical fatigue. Could be a sign that something deeper is out of alignment. When your actions start moving faster than your inner alignment, your spirit begins to wear out. You kept advancing, checking off tasks, staying busy, but you stopped pausing to examine what was happening inside. And here's the truth. Heaven will never let you go too far in the wrong direction. Even if that path looks productive, even if it looks like success. God doesn't interrupt progress, He interrupts misalignment. Why? Because you're not ordinary. The average person might get away with living on spiritual autopilot. You can't. There is weight attached to your life. Your obedience carries influence. Your clarity is connected to real assignments. And when someone carries that kind of responsibility, heaven doesn't gently suggest correction. It sounds the alarm. Not to frighten you, but to refine you. Let's be real for a moment. You started tolerating things you once would have addressed immediately. You became comfortable in environments that used to make you uneasy. You entertained conversations that, not long ago, would have deeply troubled your spirit. And you told yourself, it's not a big deal. But deep down, you knew better. The signal was already there, soft, persistent, but you chose to silence it. And now, this message is simply turning the volume back up. Understand this clearly. This is not about condemnation. This is about sensitivity. When you are set apart, your margin for drifting is much smaller. You feel things more deeply. You discern shifts earlier. You are corrected faster, not because you're failing more, but because you've been entrusted with more. That's why the alarm activates sooner in your life. And when an alarm is ignored, the consequences don't stay quiet. They increase in intensity, not as punishment, but as a warning that grows harder to ignore. It usually unfolds like this. First, a sense of restlessness, then frustration, then confusion, and eventually, cycles that seem unnecessary and draining. Not because God walked away, but because alignment kept being delayed. But this moment right here, this is mercy. You're being warned before things spiral further, before relationships begin to crack, before your clarity fades even more, before momentum carries you too far off course. So what's required now? Stillness. Not inactivity, stillness. Stillness before you make decisions. Stillness before you commit. Stillness before you speak. You've been moving quickly, but clarity doesn't shout when everything is in motion. It speaks quietly in moments of stillness. God isn't trying to slow down your destiny. He's fine-tuning your direction. There's something you need to understand clearly. Not all pressure comes from God. Lately, you've been carrying weights that were never meant for you, expectations placed on you by others, timelines shaped by comparison, and standards defined by culture. Little by little, without even noticing, you began evaluating your life based on all that external noise. But heaven doesn't use that system. Heaven measures obedience. Heaven values intimacy. Heaven looks at alignment, not applause. And right now, this alarm is resetting the way you measure your life. Pay close attention, because an alarm is never the end. It's the beginning of action. You're about to notice shifts. Things that once felt normal will no longer sit right with you. Certain environments will suddenly feel heavy. Some conversations will seem empty. Even goals you once chased might start to feel meaningless. Don't panic, that's not loss. That's refinement. When you return to alignment, your tolerance for what drains you naturally decreases. You won't have to fight everything or force changes. Some things will simply fall away on their own. And in their place, peace will step in where pressure used to live. So don't rush past this moment. Stay here for a while. Sit with it. Breathe deeply in this space of stillness. Let it expand within you, because divine alarms are not everyday moments, they signal transitions. Right now, you are moving from drifting into direction, from autopilot into awareness, from scattered effort into intentional living. And here's the truth. Awareness always comes before elevation. Now that you've heard this, you can't go back to being neutral. You can't pretend nothing stirred inside you. You can't ignore what you felt, because clarity brings responsibility. Not pressure, but responsibility. The responsibility to adjust, to realign, to return. And this doesn't require something dramatic or public. It happens quietly, sincerely, between you and God. Precious one, hear this and let it settle in your spirit. You are not late. You are not failing. You are not forgotten. You were warned, and that's a blessing. Because an alarm doesn't mean something went wrong. It means something was prevented. Heaven values you too much to let you wander too far off course. So the signal was released. Now it's your move. Reduce the noise around you. Reconsider your pace. Seek God before taking action. Pause before responding. Let go of anything that weakens your conviction. Return to what strengthens it. Alignment isn't complicated, it's intentional. This is a divine alarm. Don't silence it with distractions. Don't bury it under busyness. Don't delay what your spirit already recognizes as truth. You were awakened for a reason. An awakening is always followed by movement. So stay alert. Stay sensitive. Stay aligned. Because when heaven sounds an alarm like this, it means your next step carries more weight than you realize. And this is only the beginning. Also, don't forget to subscribe and share the videos from the Words of Truth, so we can keep spreading what God is teaching. Thank you.